Star Wars The Last Jedi is the 8th instalment in the Star Wars saga, and it's directed by Rian Johnson, and it stars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. So first off, this is going to be a spoiler review for the film Star Wars. Now, I don't know anybody who could give an honest review for this movie without giving away plot details, because there is a good 2 or 3 things that happen in the movie that everyone's going to have to talk about in order to give their review of the film. So if you've not seen the film, then I urge you to turn off now, because this is a spoiler review. Now, this movie picks up almost directly after The Force Awakens. We see near the beginning of the movie when Daisy Ridley's character Rey is handing Luke Skywalker the lightsaber. We see that in the movie, and that scene is more expanded in this latest instalment. Now, I do like Rian Johnson as director. I've been following him for quite a while now. One of my favourite movies was Brick, and that came out in 2005 I think it was, and that starred Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then he was in another movie directed by Rian Johnson which I absolutely loved, and that was Looper, and that's more sci-fi like, and that's why I was really looking forward to this movie as well, because Rian Johnson is a capable director, and in this movie he was still a capable director. I think the direction of this movie was really well done, and the visuals was probably the best aspect for me for this film, because the visuals are absolutely stunning all the way through the movie. Even when not a lot was happening, you could see stuff happening in the background, and those little details that Rian Johnson puts into his movies, he puts into this movie as well. Now, I would say parts of this story were a little bit of a letdown. I actually found myself in the cinema thinking, and I looked at my watch a couple of times as well, thinking, when's this going to start? Because the beginning of the movie was good. The middle of the movie again was good, but there was a slow build up, and I don't really mind slow build ups for movies, but for this one it was coming near, we were looking at maybe an hour 45, an hour 50, when I'm thinking, when's things going to start happening in this film, because I was quite concerned during the first half of the movie. Now, one of the biggest issues I had with this movie was how they easily killed off Snoke. Now, Snoke in The Force Awakens seemed like this godlike creature. We didn't know what size he was because it was on a hologram, but he seemed very menacing. He was definitely in charge, and then when they introduced him physically in this movie, he was still very demanding, very physically strong, and you could tell that he was the main man. He controlled Kylo Ren, he could control anyone, and the way that anytime Rey tried to attack him, he was just kind of sitting there moving his fingers, and I thought that was really well done. I thought Snoke was going to be a really big bad guy, and then the twist came, and that was how easy he was killed off by Kylo Ren. It was very disappointing. I do like how they turned Kylo Ren into a good guy at that point. He's killed off Snoke. Rey finally thinks, right, we've got a chance here. Kylo Ren and Rey are going to fight together and take down all the bad guys, and that was a really good twist. I liked that aspect of the twist, but I just didn't like how Snoke was easily killed off. Now, at that point, Kylo Ren turned to the good side. This is when I kind of woke up and I was like, whoa, this is really good, because the fight scene was really good. When they were fighting all the bad guys and Rey and Kylo Ren were fighting together, Ben Solo were fighting together, I thought that was really well done, and I liked the way they done it. But at the end of this fight, they then done the second twist, and that was when Ben Solo's basically saying, come with me, we can rule together. So he's still on the dark side, and it gave us hope that Ben Solo was going to be a good guy. Some people, the audience, were thinking, I don't want Kylo Ren to be a good guy, and I was kind of the same. I was kind of 50-50. I thought, if he became a good guy, great, we'll get behind him. If he was a bad guy, even better, because I'd like to see his bad side grow for the next episode. Now, like I said, the visuals were very stunning in this movie, and the last 25 to 30 minutes, I think it was, were even better. The visuals were outstanding when they were in their pods. I can't even say, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so I don't know what planets they were landing on and things, but the last planet that they landed on for refuge, when there was only a few of them left, and they'll hide and see the fight scene with all the bad guys coming down, Kylo Ren's crew, the First Order, coming down to attack them all. I thought that was really well done. And this is when Luke Skywalker turned up. He was there to tell everyone, there's a way out of this, there is still hope. And then he turns around to face Kylo Ren. He's walking out, and there's thousands of these, the First Order, ready to pounce on him. And then Kylo Ren showing his true colours, saying, I want every gun to shoot that man. And they all start shooting. It was quite an intense moment, but quite comedic moment as well, because some things that were said in the movie were quite funny. The audience were laughing at the cinema that I was in as well, and that kind of took away the seriousness of that specific part of the film. And then one of the most visually stunning parts of this film was when we had Ben Solo at the left hand side of the screen, and we had Luke Skywalker at the right hand side of the screen. It was good versus evil, and they were just about to face off in this lightsaber battle, and I thought, wow, this is getting better, this is getting incredible, the building is up for the next episode, this is going to be great. And then the fight between the two of them lasted maybe 15 seconds, and we only got to see about 10 seconds of that fight, and I thought that was very underwhelming when it finished. Again, the twist came, and it turned out that Luke Skywalker wasn't actually there. He was still on the other island. He was using his inner Jedi to fight him from a distance. That was a good plot twist to get away, but again, like I said, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, and after he was finished fighting Kylo Ren, he was sitting down looking at the sun, and then he disappeared and his cloak went. I'm assuming that he's passed away and went with the rest of the Jedis, I don't know. But for the avid viewer, I would say that's not really answering a lot of things. No doubt he will be in the next episode for some, they'll bring him back in some way, but for those of you who know a lot about Star Wars, maybe leave your comments down below as to what that actually meant, because I don't actually know what that meant, to be honest. Did he die? Is he just away for a little bit and he's going to come back? Or did he pass away but he's still able to communicate with the rest of them? I don't know. In the trailers as well, we see Captain Phasma facing off against Finn. She looks like she's going to be a major force in this movie, because I know that the studio do listen to the audience now and again, and we were all saying Captain Phasma looked like this great bad character, but she was very underused and underutilised in The Force Awakens, so they will rectify that in this movie, and they didn't. It was even worse in this movie. That one scene in the trailer where you see her fighting against Finn, that's really it. Nothing else happens with Captain Phasma. You get to see a little bit of her skin near the end of the movie as well, and she falls to what we think is her death. The only thing I can hope for Captain Phasma is she goes down, she's burnt, and she's really badly scarred, but she comes back and she's a bad person again. I don't know, but I don't know why. Maybe we had bigger expectations for Captain Phasma, and maybe she just wasn't meant to be that big bad character, and they're certainly doing that in these movies, because she wasn't great in The Force Awakens, and in this one she was underutilised once again. Now, everything I've said so far sounds a little bit negative, but you've got to remember I'm comparing that against The Force Awakens, and for me The Force Awakens is one of the better Star Wars movies in the series. So comparing The Last Jedi to a great movie and saying it wasn't as good as that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that they haven't improved on The Force Awakens. They haven't lifted it up a level like the original Star Wars trilogy did. You had Star Wars, then you had The Empire Strikes Back, and they lifted that. But for this next trilogy, they haven't done that. They've went down the way, but not completely down. They're not completely out yet, because there are a lot of good things about this movie. Now, the acting in it was really good as well. I think they kind of lifted it up a notch as well, especially with Carrie Fisher's character, Princess Leia, and also Mark Hamill's character, Luke Skywalker. I thought Mark Hamill, being out of the limelight for quite a while, he would kind of die down as an actor. I know he's been acting in a lot of B movies and some TV shows and some voiceovers for cartoons like the Joker and things, but he hasn't been in a big massive movie for a long time, and his scenes in The Force Awakens were limited, and I thought that was maybe due to the fact that he wasn't a great actor anymore. But in this movie he actually showed he was a really good actor, and in fact he was a better actor in this movie than he was in the full Star Wars trilogy from the 70s and 80s. I think he's really came on leaps and bounds, and it's quite surprising because he hasn't done a lot of big movies since the last Star Wars saga, so that's a good thing for Mark Hamill. And I thought Carrie Fisher got a lot of screen time in this. Obviously she passed away early on during the filming of this movie, so I thought that her scenes would be very limited in this as well. And there was a point, and again it's a spoiler, there was a point where she looked like she died, she got blown to pieces. And I thought, well, that was an epic send-off, but she didn't die. She done this kind of Superman-like move where she was out in space and she flew back in onto the ship and she was saved. So that was a good thing. Didn't quite understand that part, but I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, and again, maybe you can leave your comments down below and tell me how she was able to do these godlike things. Now, I don't believe you have to be a die-hard Star Wars fan to be able to enjoy this movie or dislike this movie. You can still go into this movie watch it and decide for yourself if it's good or not, because it's quite obvious by watching the movie you can tell if it's good or not. And I really liked the movie. I was kept on edge during the second part of the movie. First half of the movie was quite slow and I felt a little bit bored, but the second half of the movie, after the first twist, that's when things picked up. Personally, I don't think it's going to make the box office records as The Force Awakens did. I think after the first week or so people will realise it's not as good as people thought it was going to be, but it's still enjoyable. I just don't think it's going to make the box office numbers as The Force Awakens. I think it might make over $1.5 billion. I don't think it's going to reach that $2 billion mark. I'm pretty good with the box office numbers for some strange reason. I really love my numbers. And I could be wrong, but I think it will make between 1.5 and $2 billion. I just don't think it's going to make as much as The Force Awakens, because that was a one-time deal for this Star Wars saga, I think, unless they do even more epic things with the next episode. So with all that being said, guys, it's time to rate this movie, and I'm going to give Star Wars The Last Jedi an A-. So like I said, guys, it was great fun. I loved the movie overall. It just wasn't a perfect movie. It wasn't a perfect Star Wars movie, but anyone who's a fan of Star Wars, anyone who's a fan of action movies, sci-fi movies, just fun popcorn movies, I urge you to go and see it, because it is a great movie overall. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.